I got a thought-based buzz. They have me monitored. Had an altercation in the coffee shop. Here he comes. Your taxes for gang-stalking helicopters using mind-reading technology. Not looking down here, are you, or anything? Because, you know, it might show up on camera. Yeah, for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. And what they do is they put continual pressure on you. Because by using police helicopters like to try to intimidate you day and night and psychologically drive you crazy. And unfortunately, in this case, it only made my channel grow bigger.
Come on, man, open your fucking eyes. He's got all the state secrets. And you know what that means?
What?
Fucking aliens, man.
Aliens?
Yeah, the government knows all about it. They showed us the videos of them flying around jet fighters. Imagine what they're not showing us, man.
Uh-huh.
Please know that what I am going to tell you now is very difficult for me. I was tortured beyond imagining, so I would never speak of what I saw. The Queen and Prince Philip are not human.
No.
I have been mocked, I've been laughed at, I've been attacked, I've been through every single thing you can imagine by trying to get this truth out there. I couldn't give a flying fuck what you react like. I am going to tell you the truth.
Yes!
They are reptilians. They shapeshift from human form into lizard form. I saw this with my own eyes. Many, many times. And trust me when I tell you, they are the most evil creatures that you could possibly imagine on this planet.
Yeah, Christopher Walken, first time I ever did a casting session in America.
Yeah.
Terrified me.
Me too.
I mean, fucking hell. I came to meet the guy. They said, oh, he's flying in from God knows where.
Yeah, but he didn't need a plane, right? Yeah, it's like
he didn't need a plane. He came in. Good meeting.
No, he came to see me on a rooftop in New York. I said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And he said, "Sure." And he floated in sideways through a crowd of people. He was wearing black, and it was like one of those old vampire movies where they don't walk but they glide. And he was a dancer, you know, so he has he's very you know, graceful.
Yeah.
And he moved sideways, and he just sat down in a chair next to me, and it kind of frightened me.
But I also remember, like, we used to push, like, when Michael Prince talks about pushing drugs, like, we were pushing drugs for a white Drago that sits on a crystal and black throne, and like just the location where that's at. But I remember, like, we would push drugs and stuff like that. So a lot of what he came out and talked about, like, that shit actually happened.
Now, once again, not to gripe, but I wanted to share this story with you fellow TIs about how Satan can set you up, where it's not actually like in a targeting program actuality, but other elements are controlled. See, in my case, I don't think, to my knowledge, I've never gotten street theater. Like, you know, like that guy Billy got from the Nightmare World of Gang Stalking, that movie that now has over 4 million hits on YouTube, which showed the Los Angeles targeted individuals. The UK ones got totally dishonored to the point where they sued Vice over it. Who knows, maybe that's one of the reasons why Vice went out of business. But in any case, this one guy, Billy, remember that gay hairdresser or makeup artist for movies? He was talking about the street theater, like with all those cars, you know, zooming in and everything. See, I never got anything like that, and I think one reason is for this camera, guys. You know, when you have your camera out and ready to film, is when you can catch this stuff, and they don't like that. They don't want to be exposed, because that's their number one fear as devils, because that's what they are ultimately, is devils. Even people that are controlled in this gang stalking program and paid well to do what they do, they are indwelled by devils, as I've talked about. Now, so without the ability to do street theater on me, Satan does all these other tactics, which I know many people I've talked to, and you know what I'm talking about. If you're a targeted individual, you're on Satan's persecution list, okay, you're blacklisted because you are, for whatever reason, an enemy of his kingdom, okay? It's his kingdom. This that we see around it, it's all Satan, okay? This is Satan's kingdom. So it's understandable why he's defending it against people, especially like me, who are exposing them. That's the number one thing they hate. And that's why I say I think video, and especially demonic distortion exposure, or reptilian shape-shifting as it's more commonly known, is a really good way to fight. You know, I think it's a great way to fight. So, oh, we got some snow on the top of these mountains here, but not as much as last year. We really got a lot. Yeah, so Satan, instead of if he can't use street theater, because that would really show up on camera, like if something like what happened to Billy with all those white cars zooming around, I'd totally film that. And those license plates and everything can be tracked, and an organization can be sued, and or if nothing else, just the pure exposure of how obvious that is. So for people that have video cameras, whether it's your phone, because phone's the best thing because it gets the least hassle from people. Is you know, he's not going to try some of that more overt stuff to try to drive you crazy. And a lot of poor TIs, I just got a letter from somebody saying that you know, they wanted to help these people that had ended up in prison because they assaulted somebody with a pistol. They shot somebody that was being targeted. And the essence of what I told that person is that, you know, these people that don't take God's word seriously enough to not pick up the sword, the gun, by which the scripture says, and we know the instruction directly from Jesus Christ is, he who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. That means don't pick up the sword. It's not the time. That's not the good fight. Remember, Paul said he fought the good fight. Did you see Paul picking up the sword? No. Okay? A gun is today's modern sword, and it's a lot easier to kill people. Satan wants you to pick up the gun. They saw all this gun control and said, oh yeah, the gun control, mass shootings is designed to take away your weapons. Yeah. It's always opposites trying to fool you about what they really want. They want you to ruin your soul. They're not afraid of getting shot. First of all, they're in the spirit realm. They can't be shot. And even if they weren't, they have defenses that make our weapons mostly useless. I would say there is some fear about it. There is some problem with it, but it's not really what you think. It's more to protect some of their assets rather than their own hides. So they are against guns on one end, but on the other end, they love war. Why do you think they create these wars? So just to get back to what I was saying, that the less, you know, overt tactics are to satanically control people. And in this one tactic, yesterday morning, it's fresh, so I can tell you about it. First of all, so they know any place that you go regularly, okay? So Satan will have a whole plan. This is a beautifully executed plan. I come up to the door, okay, at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning to this coffee shop, and this crazed homeless guy, you know, just this drugged out whatever, you know, just out of his mind, comes up, but I couldn't tell that at first. It was kind of dark, and he opens the door and walks in. It turns out that the door had been left open or something, because when he walked in and I tried to go in after him, the door locked behind him. So first of all, the homeless guy gets in the coffee shop. I'm locked out, so I'm standing outside. That's one kick in the huevos, okay? So I'm standing out there, you know, and I'm not a rude or non-gentleman about it. What I do, before the door opens, because I get there right when it opens so that I can get, you know, a good seat. The guy sits in by the way, the homeless guy sits in my usual seat. Okay, so by the way, I'm not territorial about that, but it does, you know, bother you a little bit, you know, like, you know, it's just a little preference. But I'm totally first come, first serve. I have no attachments. If you can find a decent seat, I did. And I did find a decent seat. But so finally they opened the door. What I was going to say was I stand back away from the door. I'll stand there and stare and go, you know, pull on the door. I pull on it softly to see if it's open. A lot of times it's not. So I just stand back and wait for them to unlock the door. So I waited for them to unlock the door, and finally I went in. And so I'm sitting there working as usual. The homeless, deranged, lunatic kind of guy is sitting there going, you know, do whatever he's doing at his seat. I'm sitting there working. All of a sudden, I hear a glass drop, and glass splatter all over the place. So I thought maybe it was somebody behind the counter, but then I look over, and it's the homeless guy, stooped over, in the seat, and there's a big pile of ceramic glass and stuff where he's at, and it looks like he's passed out. And so I take my video camera and I just shoot a piece of it. And then I didn't know what was going to happen. When this one good lady that's in there, this one good elderly white woman's in there. Sorry, I don't mean to be racist, but it's just kind of interesting how when she's there, things are managed correctly. Homeless people are, dealt with swiftly. The bathroom's taken care of, and other things are not out of control. Just as a comment. And a nice, good old-fashioned elderly white lady there. Not that elderly, I mean, more mature, I should say. And anyway, so next thing is I look over and there's two cops. So I take my my cell phone out and I start recording, because this is interesting. The guy there's a homeless bum slooped over in the seat, big pile of glass and stuff around him, and two cops. Who's not going to be interested in that and break out their cell phone? And it's a good thing, because if, for no other reason, if the homeless guy goes crazy or something else, other people are filming it in case there's any legal issues and people know exactly what happened. I wasn't filming it to see if I could catch the police doing anything wrong. It was an item of interest. But what do you know, and you can probably guess, this lady gets up and tells me, you shouldn't be doing that. And then she gets between me and the police, and she says it again, you shouldn't be filming. And so I said, and I thought about this, and maybe I shouldn't have done it, but I'm kind of not really feeling too bad about it, because really the Christian should be more meek and not be using profanity. But I said, kiss my ass. Okay. Then so she's still standing there a bit, and she tells the cops, because she alerts the cops. She goes, excuse me, that guy is filming. And they just ignore her. They just look at her and then they look back. and then I said it again, kiss my ass. Now again, I totally concede if somebody says, that's really not the Christian way to handle it. That's not how Jesus would handle it. You shouldn't be using profanity, and you should, not be starting a fight, because who knows, I was thinking, that lady could, bring her son in, who's some big dude, and, threaten me or whatever and kick my ass if I fight him or something like that, or get into trouble or whatever. And or after that incident occurred, I could have had trouble with the employees. I didn't. They weren't saying anything. But I mean, in that case, it was so obvious. It was a thing of interest. I mean, and the lady that was there, there was a man and a woman sitting in front of me. They're regulars at the store. And when I had put the phone away after a while, just waiting for something to happen, and then when the cops, when the paramedics came in to drag the guy off, because the guy was like playing like he was, wasted. He was just, I think he was just, like at the end of his rope, and when they were trying to tell him, hey, hello, can you move or anything, he was just ignoring them basically, because when they put him in the cot, he stood up and, looked like he was alert and everything, So the people in front of me said, hey, you should start filming again. So I did. I broke up a phone and I started filming again. And there was, as you can see, there was two things that came against me there, right there. But especially the thing with the non-filming, because that was ridiculous. I mean, there should have been a couple of other people breaking out their phones and filming it, because that was an obvious thing of interest. I mean, there's a guy slumped over in a puddle of glass, two cops, and then the paramedics had to come in and carry him away. It's not like, somebody's not going to be filming that, on their phone to see if there's anything interesting, or it's a piece of news or something else, I mean, it's an item of interest. So I in no way apologize for that. I think it was, now if the employees told me if the employees of the store told me to put the camera away, I would. if that's their policy. I don't know what their policy is at that store. So, but in any case, I would have asked her, is that the store policy in writing, and can I read that somewhere? But whether or not, I still would have put it away, unless she backed off and said, okay, you don't have to put it away. But otherwise, I would just put it away just to avoid a problem, because I don't want a problem. I don't want to get kicked out of that store and get a problem with the employees and the management and everything there. And plus, it's their store. So if they say, that filming isn't allowed, then okay, that's one thing. But they didn't say anything to me at all. In fact, I was right there where the employees could see me. So it wasn't like, they didn't know. And I filmed other things in the store too, like not in the store, but a pelican outside of the store or whatever. That's the first time I've actually filmed something in the store. But that, like I said, that was an item of interest. But even though that didn't blow up in my face big time, it wasn't like something that I was really upset about, I was a little bit frayed by it. It's a situation where just to be smart, not because I'm afraid or afraid to face that lady, or maybe she'll bring her husband back and say, what you say to my wife, I don't care, man. I'll let him have it. If he wants to kick my ass, fine, we'll go outside and have a fight. But fuck you. I told that lady to kiss my ass, and I stand by it. Now, I look, again, I'm sorry, but at a certain look at this. Okay, then I'll have to put kids feature on the video. Oh no, you're a pedophile. Yeah, that's how YouTube is. So, but anyway, yeah. So, but that was, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong. Could all just be circumstantial. So you got to be reasonable. But that was an attack. Think about it. Why did that lady, who actually, she was a regular there too, I don't really remember her specifically, but I think she goes there on a regular basis. But why did she make a point of getting up and standing? What connection did she have? Like you could say, well, she was related to that guy. I doubt it. I've never seen that guy before. And he was this obvious, homeless, derelict. His clothes are disheveled and crap all over the place. He's just, just out of his gourd, like a lot of these people. And, and they're unfortunate, but, why would she want to tell me, I'm just sitting there minding my own business, except that I'm sitting in my seat, but I'm filming this item of interest? Why would she be so upset about me filming them? Why? Because she's filled with Satan, would be my answer. And Satan is especially sore and pissed about me exposing his demons with demonic distortion, i.e. reptilian shape-shifting movies, okay, for which I became a targeted individual. So in my opinion, Satan, who's in the spirits, dwelling in all these people, which I discovered, I believe the Lord led me to understand that, he is pissed and sore living in these people, and then these people reflecting the spirit that rules within them, the devil, that he's sore and pissed and hates me shooting video. So he's looking for a way to set me up. I've seen this before, and other people have seen similar things like that, where Satan tries to set you up for a conflict, of some kind. Now, I've said before, and it's certainly true, that I don't know what the future is, and with this level of attacks, in a certain way, time is on Satan's side as far as because the fact that I'm mad enough to tell some lady I don't know twice, and I'm a Christian, to kiss my ass, means that I'm getting pretty pissed at this crap. And if I blow it, if I do something like get into an altercation with somebody, or whatever, if you strike somebody, you're going to jail, and they win. This is what they want. So I'd like to warn all the people who, you're watching this probably because for one of the people that like to watch my channel are targeted individuals. And I give you, this, just to remind, all of us that they're trying to get you to lose your temper. They want you to haul off and slug somebody. Boom, they got you. Okay, because once they get you into prison or into a mental institution, they can dope you up with drugs like they did to Christian Kunimi of the famous Frequency Fence, which is now destroyed because they ruined his mind, I believe, with drugs. He wasn't the same after he came out. Remember that? 3.5 years he was in. He came out, and his movies, they worked to discredit all of the great work he did before. So it's a situation where, you really are a Blade Runner. You're living on the edge, man. And you just got to, realize that you're doing well to keep your cool every day and to be prepared for attacks to try to make you lose your temper, to try to make you blow it, okay? Especially if you have a pistol, and you think it's a good idea to have that on you for self-defense. I don't know what city you live in or, what your situation is, but in general, I advise against it. I do not own one. And it's something that, to me, is more of a potential to do harm to yourself, because if you have a crime committed against you, you can recover from that. But if you commit a crime against somebody else, that is where you can really be ruined. If you get your stuff robbed, it's not the end of your world. It can really piss you off. Maybe you live in a really bad neighborhood and you need it, okay, but or something. But if I were you, the best thing would be to get out of there if you had to. I mean, if the situation really got bad where I am, I would, get the hell out of here. Try to go somewhere else, where it isn't as bad. But so far, it looks like this is my, as it were, station to do whatever it is I'm doing, which I think is this movie making. Somebody just sent me some great articles on the cost of Los Angeles police helicopters and also the psychological negative impacts on society. And it was great. It was actually that KMX dude who I had a meeting with. Unfortunately, that we got rained out, and I was a little worried he got offended or whatever, but he was nice and sent me those 3 articles. So it's really, it's awesome, and a lot of good information. It turns out, so I was reading, I read the articles, he said, it's unbelievable, man. Get this, an average of $46 million a year they spend on it, okay? $50 million a year almost per year since 2018 on these helicopters that, like all this tonnage of pollution. People complain of stress or waking up from the lights and the noise and everything. Minority communities are disproportionately impacted, and they did a study, but it's way outdated on the effectiveness of it. Now, I will concede that I do think it is I would say it's a useful tool if it's not overused and not used to oppress people and used for illegal purposes like it is in my case. I joked with him in a return email thanking him for the articles. I said, yeah, probably at least $250,000 a year on me that they spend on this crap. But I mean, no, I just, to be fair, I think, and even as a preventative measure. I mean, if you can find a way to prevent crime, good. And I think that they do deter a lot of people who would otherwise go on to commit crimes and become more bold. The helicopters scare them off early, and that's good. And also, especially for car chases that would result in more deaths and problems, and also the guy getting away, I would say that they are good for that, and it is worthwhile. What? Yeah. It's, I think, unfortunately, it is, abused to a large extent, not just on me with the, not for no illegal activity whatsoever, but for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies, which is not against human law, maybe reptilian law, but not against human law. And so, yeah, I don't think that it's the money is being properly used. But as I told him, I said if I thought it didn't do any good, there's a controller doing an investigation now on the effectiveness, yada yada, of these so-called on these helicopters and their overall impact. But the real people that make the decisions don't go by anything that's having to do with righteousness, as we know. One way to look at the stuff coming against you is it's not Satan and the demons or the devils coming against you. It's actually the Lord testing you, trying your soul. Because I realized that whole incident that I just described happening yesterday morning, it's not Satan necessarily coming against me. It's the Lord in providing another trial for my soul. God didn't say this would be an easy life. He said that if you did well, that you can make it. You can make it in. And if you don't do well, as he told Cain, sin lies at the door. So don't kill your brother just because you don't do well. Don't sin just because you don't do well. Pick yourself up and do well.